the best family times, they were usually surrounded by moments and photos and videos than the things that were there. I even think about our holidays and like how much alignment we have there. I think there might be, a perception out there we might spoil our kids for Christmas, but we don't. We buy them, all of them get 3 gifts, and they're all pretty conservative.
Yeah.
They're nothing that's crazy outside the box is expensive. But like even, but we will surprise our kids with like, hey, this year we're doing a trip and we're going here. So we'll do something for an experience, but like possession wise or like stuff wise, it's very, very minimal.
Right.
How do you know if you have alignment when it comes to being married? In fact, a lot of people that I know have been doing this work for about 10 years. I can tell you that a lot of couples don't have alignment. They're misaligned on a lot of different things. They're misaligned on parenting. They're misaligned on financial decisions. They're misaligned on their physical intimacy. They're misaligned on a lot of different things as they go about life, and it shows up in really, really bad ways when we tend to navigate life as 2 separate people, but we're married and we're parents, so we're married to each other and we have kids together, and we come from 2 different experiences, 2 different childhoods, 2 different type of lives, and yet we're supposed to make alignment decisions. So, gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome to the Dad Edge Podcast. I'm Larry Hagner. I'm your host and founder of this podcast, The Show of Movement. And today I've got in studio with me today my amazing wife, Jessica, and we're going to talk about these things as it relates to alignment and how we've gotten to alignment over the past 22 years. And the reason I think that this show is going to be really, really important to not only us as a married couple as we discuss these things, but also for you guys, because I think you'll probably realize some of the bear traps that you've stepped in as a married couple over the years as it relates to trying to get alignment on some of these big topics like finances and sex and parenting and faith and all these different things that we need alignment on that could cause a lot of fights. And I've seen this over and over again just in my own coaching practice where people will just have completely and totally different visions and alignment, and it really, really derails their connection. So without further ado, what's up, Jess? Good to see you. Oh, there you go. See, you got to have the tech guy who's on it. There you go. Now you can hear yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That dog looks like he is in absolute heaven just sitting next to you, by the way. He's got his eyes closed. He's like all like this. And
Well, normally he's outside the room scratching at the door, so.
It's very true. He looks really comfortable.
Yep. Hopefully he doesn't jump down and knock things over.
It's okay if he does. We'll know who to blame it on. Which, by the way, speaking of, accidents, I just got done going to the bathroom in our kids' bathroom, and there's just pee everywhere.
Awesome.
All over the toilet. I mean, like, I kind of, and they never flush.
What's weird is it doesn't matter how often you say clean up after yourself or clean that off or whatever, they still don't do it.
Do you think that they view that as, well, that doesn't count?
No, because we are very specific on what they need to do. And it doesn't matter if it's a consequence or a reward with it, or if we just tell them over and over, they still don't do it.
If they come upstairs while we're recording, we're going to bring them in and punish them.
Okay.
Okay, sound good?
Yeah, but there's only 2 of them here.
That's true. We can punish them. We can actually double their punishments. That way they can take the punishment for the other 2 that aren't here.
Okay.
You okay with that?
I'm sure they won't be okay with that, but...
So I know you're as humble as the day is long and you don't take compliments very well, but people are talking about how they really, really like your these shows that we're doing.
Well, I'm glad. Because I would hate for this to be awful.
I know exactly well, I'm glad, but this is over in 2 episodes. That's probably what you're thinking, right?
I mean, that was my hope.
This has got to become a Friday thing, though.
I don't know if I can do that every week.
I think the audience might want to hear from you at least once a month, though.
I would do it on occasion, I guess, but you know how busy I am when kids are in school.
I know you are busy when the kids are in school, but maybe I could steal like 45 minutes of your time per week.
Okay. It will be a deal if you do 45 minutes extra for me around the house.
Oh, yeah? Oh, I'm kind of intrigued to where this is going. What would you like me to do with this additional 45 minutes? Is this per month? Per year?
I don't know. I guess it depends on how often we have to podcast.
Oh, so it's very dependent on the 45 minutes you give me, I have to give you in return.
Yeah, because you do this job and I do that job.
So if you had a wish list of things that you would want me to do more of around the house, what would they be?
I don't know if I would have a wish list, but there's things that, like, I mean, for instance, breakfast. I do that
Breakfast. Yes.
every single day, even on weekends, and you could help.
On weekends and holidays. And did I mention I never get a break, you useless bum?
Well, my job never ends, but I know yours doesn't either on occasion.
The passive aggressiveness is not getting any better. I know yours ends more often than mine does.
Well, you could turn it off. Things don't get turned off in the house.
I don't know if I can turn it off. It's not like when I'm working with a one-on-one client, I can be like, "Hey, hold that thought. I got to go wash out the
Oh,
sink."
I just mean like you could do stuff all day long in a household. Like there's weeds to be picked and there's like bathrooms to be cleaned, hence the pee in the bathroom, you know. The kids can help. But I'm just saying that stuff never ends.
What if I delegate my 45 minutes
Delegate it to what?
to these children that need to do more work around here?
You're good at delegating. You really are.
Okay.
It's really funny to like watch you, especially during dinner time.
Well, the thing is I think you should be. If you're a parent, you should be a delegator.
I know, I agree with that, but if I give you a task, that doesn't mean you give it to someone else because you do.
I I work smart sometimes and not hard. But in all kidding aside, these kids can easily be doing more around here. Like look at what happened yesterday. You and I are busting our humps, like trying to get the kitchen all cleaned up after dinner, and there were kids just chilling on the couch doing nothing.
No, they weren't because
Yes, they were.
okay, so we had one child eat with us well,
I
two,
was
I
trying
guess.
not to out him on the show here, so I was saying kids.
Okay, but there's two kids that actually ate with us last night, and I don't know.
They did not help.
They didn't, but that I don't know.
That's why I delegate.
I understand.
I don't want. I cannot stand while you and I are doing stuff, and then there are kids on the couch just scrolling through their phones.
I agree with that. And I think that we're good at telling them to get off their phone and get some stuff done, but there's days we don't.
I agree, and I think last night. Well, let's just pull back the curtain on the honesty of our relationship. I think this is a good example. We got into a little heated discussion with one of our kids last night at the table, and it was really unexpected. And I think you and I were a bit, quite frankly, derailed by it.
Yeah.
And I think at least this is what was going on through my mind. I was still trying to process through some of the things that came our way, as far as like questions that were asked, and things that were brought up that I just didn't expect. And when it got time to clean up the kitchen, I used that time to clean up to process through some of those things I was thinking through. And to be honest, there was no part of me that wanted me to ask him to help because
Yeah.
I wanted a bit of space between us to think about some things and also sort of process through things.
Well, that's what I do. Even if I'm mad at something, I go clean because it's my cleaning time, it's my thinking time, it's my processing time because I need to and if I'm mad, I need to actually process before I like blow up too. Like I don't want to like jump the gun and say something I don't want to really say. But yeah, it was a different night and I feel like we're pretty good at telling the kids to help out afterwards because they'll go sit down immediately and we have to almost always tell them to get up and help.
They do.
But I do feel like we give them a lot of chores. But there's just times like for instance last night Lawson was out to dinner with a friend and he needed to empty the dishwasher and we just did it because we needed to get the dishes done. So I'm okay to do it on occasion, but they do it the majority of the time.
They do. We put them to work quite a bit. But yeah, I think that was I think that might have been me and you reading that situation pretty well last night because I
Yeah.
think we were both on the same page. And that's one of the things we're talking about today, which is alignment,
Mm-hmm.
which is how do we get alignment on a lot of things. I want to bring up actually a bit of alignment that you and I think we came across this like 7 years ago. And I can't remember even really why, other than doing like the core values exercise that we do and that we have our guys do in the alliance, which is, everyone, there's 150 different core values, and a normal human being will operate between 5 to 7 core values, that they value things through, right? Um, you and I did ours quite some time ago, and I remember some of our things, some of our 5 to 7 core values, like environment was one.
Yeah.
That was one of our core values, which is we value our home, we value our surroundings, we value. The interesting thing is I found that we didn't really value possessions.
No.
We didn't value stuff, but we did value deep human connection. We valued memories, vitality, health.
Yeah.
Um, those types of things were really, really important. But I want to go back to one of the things that we did get alignment on early on, which is it's our quote. I think it's actually one of our mission statements as a family is experiences over stuff,
Right.
memories over things, and connection over everything.
Yeah.
So, I'm not exactly sure where we got alignment on that one because I see there's a lot of other couples that will, I think, schedule things or buy things to get that alignment, that connection, and memories. So, like, for instance, I see a lot of people, um, like, there's a couple that you and I know that they go to Disney. They've been to Disney like 8 times. And it's like they really value the experiences, but it's almost to the point where they need an experience in order to feel connected. And
Yeah.
I don't think that over the years, I think one of the things that we've done a good job of is making those connections. And I think some of the simplest environments.
Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, I can understand why people do those experiences to feel connected because I feel like you can get lost in the non-reality of life for a little bit and it I feel like, in a home you could feel like, oh, there's chores and we're yelling at each other or whatever. But when you're on vacation, that stuff kind of goes away. You're like, oh, bills, we can do that when we get home. Oh, the house, that can be done when we get back. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of people do that. But I feel like for us, we kind of like aligned a lot of things up in our house so that we didn't feel like we were like not wanting to be at home as well, especially during COVID.
Oh my gosh, that makes total sense. Can we share a quick story on alignment
Sure.
over COVID?
I mean, why would I be not okay with that?
Well, I think this is something that I think this really proves that you're married to a strong person who has their reality in check.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember this or not, but I still remember where we were standing in the kitchen, and we were putting dishes away, and I was over by the sink and you were over by where like the bowls are. So we were like kind of shoulder to shoulder, but with a little bit of distance between us. And I think it was COVID was it was like a few months into it. Like we were pretty deep in it, I think.
Okay.
And I think that a lot of the world was like, are we going to get out of this thing? Like, is this the way the world is going to work? So I remember like 90 days into it, we're like, wow, like this was supposed to be 2 weeks. And look at this. Like, this might be the new world.
Yeah.
And I remember as you and I were putting dishes away, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I said, hey, I go, I'm having a really dark thought. Like, and you're like, what is it? And I said, what if like this is it? Like, what if this is the end of the world? Like, what if we die like this? Like, everyone is alone and separated, and this is just literally the end of end of days. And I'll never forget what you said to me. Instead of panicking or saying really anything that I think you could have said just about anything and would have made sense, I think, at that point. But you said, well, so what if it is? And I'm like, what do you mean? And you're like, well, have you done everything that you wanted to do? Have you said everything that you want to say to people? Is there any stones that are left unturned? Or if you died tomorrow, would you be happy knowing that you gave just about everything you possibly could, minus maybe a few experiences or trips that we wanted to take? And I thought about that and I was just like, no, actually, there's some truth to that. Like, that if I died tomorrow, if this was it, I don't really think I would have many regrets, minus the fact that we didn't get to see some of the things we really want to see and travel. Other than that, when it came to our family, how connected we were, how aligned we were, and how good it felt over the years to make really solid decisions, even financially around our alignment. So, like, we never really went out and bought like a luxury car ever.
Right.
I mean, ever. We never really went out and bought like name brand clothes for me or you or the kids. Like,
Unless it's at TJ Maxx.
unless it's at TJ Maxx, right? I bought you your first, Michael Kors purse. But before that, there was no Louis Vuitton. There was no name brand, like crazy high end purse or wallet that you had, or sunglasses that you had to have, or even things like you're not the type of woman that needs her nails done all the time. Like, that's like a real treat for you to go get it done like once every few months at the most. And I think about decisions like that where, where we live, the cost of living isn't high. We have a nice house, but it isn't like a mansion by any means. It doesn't have like bells and whistles out the yin yang, but it is home and it's cozy and it's warm. The cars we drive get us from A to B. Our kids don't drive fancy cars. We don't wear fancy clothes. And here's the interesting thing. We're all really okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, there's no yearning, wanting, or needing of any of that stuff. In fact, all I really find myself yearning for and needing is the connection to you guys. And I actually see our kids, minus our 11-year-old, who really, really likes name brand clothes right now.
Yeah, he does. He's in middle school, though.
He is. But I even see our kids kind of following suit with this. It's connection over anything, even for them, which surprises me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I do think that our kids do like name brand stuff, but we have always told them, even like for video games or consoles and everything, like we've always told them that, like, hey, if you want that, I can maybe get that for you for your birthday, maybe for Christmas, or we say you can save up for that stuff. And then we've also told them that, like, hey, you want a PS5? Okay, we'll pay half of it for your birthday, but you have to pay the other half. We've always kind of like given those options, but then we've also given them the options of like, well, you could have that, but maybe we could also take that money and put it towards something for a trip. Like, you could buy something there. We've always kind of like given them those thought processes of things.
Yeah, I really like that, giving them options, because I think we live in a society right now where everything is instant gratification.
Right.
Everything is like, I need it now and I can get it right now. But yeah, I love the fact that we've given them choices. But our alignment when it comes to, I've told this story over and over again of our backyard.
Yeah.
And that was a little on the pricey side, but it wasn't any more pricey than a decently new truck, I would say.
Right.
And but it was something that our backyard project, by the way, it's a patio, it's a fire pit, it's got a hot tub back there. We've got speakers for music that we listen to, and we gather back there. And we use that space out there a lot. And I'll never, huh?
And the projector.
And the projector, yeah, that we rigged up. But I'll never forget being back there a couple of years ago and Ethan asking me when I was going to buy a sports car.
Yeah.
And I was looking at him. I was like, well, you're in my sports car right now. And he's like, what are you talking about? We had just opened it up. I think it was July 4th weekend, because that was the first weekend it had opened. We had opened it up the year that it was done. And everybody was over. It was our friends and our kids' friends. And we were looking around, and I said, well, I could have spent the money that we spent on this backyard project on a car, but then it'd be me and you in the car, or we could have spent it on this. And you saw Ethan like look around and say, and I asked him, I said, did I make the right decision? He said, yeah, you definitely made the right decision. But it was a decision based on connection and memories and the experience of company that we have with other people and ourselves. But I think so many people they don't they don't have that alignment. They don't value some of the same things. And I'm wondering, how did you and I actually get to a place where we do value those things and we value them very similarly, which I think is interesting.
I don't know. I mean, as you were talking about it, I was trying to figure out why we were like that, but I don't know. I don't know why. I feel like it was just more of like we talk a lot. We just talk like about everything. And I feel like we just started thinking about things that really like, made us feel joy, you know? And I felt like that those were the things that we started to realize gave us more joy than things, you know?
I 100% agree. I think it did actually come through us talking,
Yeah.
reflecting, and just being present and experiencing these things together.
Right.
And oh, we have our 17-year-old at home.
Oh, Mason wants to come join.
Mason, do you want to come join? Get on the microphone. He's our introvert of the four for sure. You can take him out if you want. That's fine. But yeah, I think you're right. I think there's some truth to that. I think that there's we experience things, we talk through things, and it is really. I don't think it really hit me until 2017 that we started living life a little bit differently. We started chasing experiences over stuff. Like we started traveling with the kids a little bit more. Started seeing concerts with the kids more. We started just grasping, seizing experiences with each other that we knew were, I think, rare sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, we've never really cared a lot about things. I don't even feel like in that time frame when we first got married that things mattered that much to us. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like I even cared about how I looked a lot of times. I didn't feel like I was even girly until I started meeting my friends that I have now, you know, but I just think that with time, we've realized that those experiences were just so much fun and we had so many memories and laughs with it that we started to continue that down the road.
I agree. I mean, I think if I look back on the best family times, they were usually surrounded by moments and photos and videos than the things that were there. Like I always think about even, I even think about our holidays and like how much alignment we have there. Like I think there might be, a perception out there we might spoil our kids for Christmas, but we don't. We buy them all of them get 3 gifts
Hmm.
and they're all pretty they're pretty what's the word I'm looking for? Conservative.
Yeah.
They're nothing that's crazy outside the boxes expensive. But like even but we will surprise our kids with like, hey, this year we're doing a trip and we're going here.
Hmm.
So we'll do something for an experience, but like but like possession wise or like stuff wise, it's very, very minimal.
Right.
But I don't even know how we ended on that one. How did we even land on that one? I think that was your idea.
With the three gifts?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's because of three wise men.
The Three Wise Men, yeah, which I had never heard of.
Oh, that the three wise men give a gift to Jesus and there's only three gifts.
Right. But there's a lot of families out there that don't subscribe to that. That's like 30 gifts.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say that they don't get a lot of stocking stuffers, though.
They do, but those are a lot of funny things though too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I mean, I just always thought that there was no reason for that many gifts because I do remember before we started some of that, like when we first had Ethan, I felt like it was overwhelming and they didn't care about that. You know, they would open a present and go to the next one, and it wasn't like they would even look at it or do anything with it, especially when they were younger, you know. So, and then I felt like as they got older, they were like, well, how come I didn't get this? And I didn't want that or whatever. So I felt like we kind of started instilling in them, like, you know, be appreciative of what you get. And like, you know, these are things that you've even talked about that you like and that kind of thing. So,
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah, I think I think we I think you've done a really, really good job of always like keeping the kids, I think, their expectations, I would say, what's the word I'm looking for? Realistic.
Hmm.
Because there's nothing that gets too crazy during like a season or gift giving or stuff like that. Oh my God, you can actually hear him snipping the microphone. It is so funny. Um, Let me ask you this: if you were to give our kids advice, relationship advice for the future, on like, hey, make sure you're aligned with your spouse when it comes to these things. What do you see yourself? What advice do you see yourself giving the kids?
Say that one more time.
So if you were to give the kids advice as they start to navigate some of their, I would say longer relationships or relationships for the future, um, how would you advise them? Like, what advice would you give them?
Um, I would probably say like, I mean, I always go back to the same thing. I feel like a broken record, but I feel like communicate with them, I feel like it's most important that you communicate with your spouse because like if you're not in that alignment of things or talking things through, that other person doesn't have a clue of what's going on in your head. And I don't feel like you can get very far if you don't know what's going on. So I just have always thought that communication has always been a great key for any advice for
I would
anybody.
agree. Are you talking about communicate to the kids
No, I'm
or
talking
just talking
about
about with each other?
you said what kind of advice would I give for our kids as they navigate like relationships and stuff like that? I feel like as long as they communicate with their spouse, they're gonna always like I don't know, like I wouldn't say well, you could get far with it, but it would always help along the way of anything that's going on in their lives because like that other person will know like, oh, that person's sad or, but why? Like if they're not talking about these things, then I feel like you just like get lost and you don't know what's going on and you're like, is it me? Like, are we going to get a divorce? Or, like I just feel like communication is always a huge factor in anybody's relationship.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
But I think they'll communicate about the here and the now and the more like high level managerial things, like the things that are sort of shallow or easy to talk about. But when it comes to like alignment on parenting or things that we value or experiences over stuff, like I feel like those conversations don't happen as easily
Yeah.
or as regularly. Or like I even know couples that when even if a guy brings up like, hey, what's something you want more out of our relationship? And the woman will be like, oh my God, will you stop asking me questions like that?
Yeah.
Like just things like that like the other person will get shut down when they try to when people even try to communicate like that.
Yeah, but I almost think that there's a certain approach that you should always take with certain things. Like you should ask certain questions a certain way or it gets defensive. You know what I mean? Like more out of a curiosity thing than to make it more a defensive thing.
Like an agenda thing. Like as you're genuinely curious.
Yeah, like I mean, if for instance, if you had something on your mind and I just felt the tension, I mean, come on, you usually feel like something that's going on. You're either like really loving with each other or there's like some tension because something's going on. But if I don't ask you what's going on, I don't know. Are you mad at me? Are you mad at your job? Are you mad at something that happened that I just didn't know about? Like if we don't talk about those things on a daily basis, we're gonna fall off and like have a hard time with like the rest of our marriage and because that will just continue to build like if we're not talking today well tomorrow are we going to talk if not it's going to continue down and that's when people get stuck and divorced because they don't know like what's going on and they're not talking these things through.
You bring up a really good point, which is constantly talking, communicating, not letting anything go or anything assumed, right?
Yeah.
And I think I think a lot of couples would like to subscribe to that. I don't think in real world though that they do. I think a lot of times what they'll do is they will, like I was watching a video this morning on sex and intimacy in marriage, and the video was all, it was this woman who was talking, and she was like, if the dynamics in your relationship are like this, where you stop talking about parenting the kids and suddenly parenting the kids is something you just don't talk about anymore,
Yeah.
or you just look at the other person like, oh, well, they're this or they're that, or they're gonna think this or they're gonna parent like this. The same thing is to be said for sex and intimacy. So like once you go a certain amount of time without pursuing each other, well then it suddenly becomes like something that's more awkward in your relationship. And now you've allowed too much time
Yeah.
to go, and it's just like now it's really awkward and it's really weird, and now there might not be any going back to it, and then all of a sudden you're married to somebody for years in a sexless relationship, and it's because you kind of just stopped having sex, or in your example you stopped talking, like you
Right.
actually stopped communicating about just things in general. And it sounds like, from what I can gather from you, is there's an urgency for you to communicate with me every day. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, and I don't feel like you have to like talk about every single feeling that's going on in your mind, like that's not what I'm saying at all. Like I'm just saying like shoot, we can go all day when you're working and not even talk to each other for hours. And like, I don't even know, like, are you having a good day or like what's going on, like that kind of thing. But if like you're done and you come out and I'm in the kitchen and I want to talk to you. Like, if we're not talking, then what's the point?
It's very true. That's very true. Do you think that we would ever run out of things to say? And I want to answer this question for other couples listening. It's like, I think a lot of couples are just like, well, I know everything about him. I know everything about her. I don't need to ask her any questions. I know that she's like this and he's like that.
I mean, I don't think we'll ever run out of questions, but I also know that we're kind of like, on a road trip, we'll like start asking questions, like we'll pull things up on our phone and ask questions about like, and it turns into like a big, long, elaborate thing. And we've only gotten through two questions for like how many hours worth, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we would ever run out of things to talk about. But I mean, because you can look up any question. It could be about intimacy or adventure or, you know, like silly things that you could do together or whatever. I don't even know. I'm just throwing things out there.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I think that both people need to be willing to do it. And
Oh, I
I
agree.
think a lot of people are not. Like they'd rather just sit in silence and sort of complacency and not explore each other's relationship a little bit.
That's just not me though. Like, I don't want to sit in silence. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm walking on eggshells or wondering what my husband's thinking about or what's going on in his daily life. I don't want that.
I don't want that either. Do you think that people can be taught to do that, or do you think people are just like, well, I'm just this way, and that's who I am, so I can't do anything else about that?
I don't know. That's kind of tricky. I feel like there are things that can be taught, but I do know that people can revert back to the old ways. But if they like what they're doing, I feel like they could still continue on. It would just be like a thing that you are learning still.
Yeah, it's like you could say, well, I used to not be the best communicator about my relationship, but I'm learning every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm of the belief that you can do or change anything that you want. It's just a matter of
Yeah, if you
how bad
want.
do you want to.
It is tricky, and I'm thinking of an instance, and I'm sure you probably know what I'm talking about, but like I feel like there are people out there that have like a certain personality and that's just who they are, and I don't know that they can change certain ways, but if it's very important to them, like, oh, I do want to be better at communication, I think they would.
I think that would too. I think a lot of people haven't felt enough pain or discomfort with how they're living sometimes
Hmm.
in order to change something, which I think is unfortunate, because I think then you wait till there's a crisis and then you change.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if you were married to me and maybe you wanted to talk to me, but maybe I wasn't the best communicator like I used to be. I used to actually tell you that. I used to be like, sorry, I'm just not the best communicator.
Yeah.
And you used to tell me all the time that you wish I communicated better, early on in our relationship. I could have always used the excuse, well, that's not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just not a good communicator. What if I use that as an excuse over the years, just over and over, be like, well, sorry, you should have married somebody else because I'm just not the best communicator.
I mean, I do think that there are people that are like that, and maybe that is not the person for them.
Could you live with me if I was like that?
Uh, I mean, I guess it depended on the situation. Like, if it was a strained situation, then probably not.
Yeah. I don't know how you could be married for, a certain amount of time and that not get strained over time if
Right.
the other person is not willing to communicate.
Yeah,
Like that would just get really old.
it would.
Especially if the other person was in the camp of like, I wish you would just talk to me more. Like I really value our relationship based on how well we communicate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get that. But yeah, I was thinking about this alignment thing, like even, parenting and stuff like that. We've talked about parenting alignment, I think, on the past two shows of how we've gotten alignment there. But like, even with, I would say, like how we spend our money, there's alignment there. So, for instance, we eat healthy food, and we're willing to spend a little bit more money on healthy food versus crap, right?
Right.
Which I think there's an alignment there. There's also an alignment, I think, on how we take care of ourselves. So we're both workout people. We both value vitality and health and all those things. We both value our faith, and we both value the same discipline of faith. Like we both practice the same type of faith, and we're raising our kids in that same faith. We also, I also would like to think that we're aligned on trying things that we haven't tried before. Like I don't think you and I are so stuck in our ways that we're like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Right.
So like even the thing where like I know it's kind of newer to us and we've been tinkering with it, but we've been praying together now. But like even things like that where it's just like, oh, that's not us.
Yeah.
Which I think some of our alignment is like, no, if I know Jessica, if I asked her, she would try that. She would at least try it. Or I'd like to think that you know me well enough to where you'd be like, well, no, I know him well enough and he would at least try this. Like he would try just about anything I think once. But I think also having that type of alignment where knowing that the other person would be open to trying something that the other person might bring up.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Just like trying podcasting.
just like trying podcasting. Yeah, this is brand new for you. But yeah, I wanted to talk about these alignment pieces because I honestly think if I really look at our marriage, this is a make or break in our relationship. And I think that what we've done is over the years, we've put these pieces together and we've aligned on them. And I think that they've become kind of non-negotiables on how we live together, which I think has been really, really great.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts?
I think it's really great. And to be honest, I feel like I take it for granted a lot of times because as you're speaking about this, I think about how probably a lot of people aren't aligned like this. And to teach someone else to be more aligned or whatever, I feel like that would be really hard because unless you're willing to do some of this stuff, I don't know if they would like feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I just take this for granted that we do have so many things that we agree on and are aligned with.
Well, even we agree upon going to bed about the same time. I mean, I have clients that they go to bed separately. And it really it kind of messes with their connection.
I I don't know. I mean, I know how you are. Like when you're out of town, I stay up and get things done because I mean, I'm thinking like, I don't want to not go to bed with you. I think that's kind of weird, but that's just my personal preference.
Same here. Same here. But like even like talking before bed and that kind of thing. Like I know more couples that get in arguments before they go to bed, just because they're tired and they're trying not to go to bed angry.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to bed fighting, which I think even that's something that I think we're aligned on as well, is that I don't like going to bed angry, but I also know that sometimes it's best to go to bed angry because we're both so tired
Yeah.
that if we're arguing about something, it's just like, this is not good that we keep arguing about it and we're both just tired.
Yeah.
And so, but I know we'll also tackle things in the morning.
Right. And I think too, like sometimes you need to sleep on it and process things through because there are times like I think you're in the wrong and then I really think about it. I'm like, nope, I'm the one in the wrong.
Well, you really do that, huh?
Is that a surprise to you?
No, but it's a surprise to me that I'm usually not the one wrong all the time. So that's the more surprise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to ask you this though, before we head out of here today, is what are we going to talk about on our last show? It's next week.
I don't know. Maybe ask the listeners, what do they want to hear about?
Well, let's ask you listeners, like you guys in the audience. We, see, by the time that they listen to this one though, we'll have the other one recorded.
I know.
So,
I honestly don't know. I feel like we've talked about everything. We ran out of things to talk about. Yep. I'm just kidding.
Things to talk about.
I'm totally kidding.
We never run out of things to talk about, but
I'm sure we'll come up with something.
I know we'll think of something. But speaking of connection and all that, I know I've been giving you guys this resource that Jessica and I have used over the years called 25 Intimate Conversation Starters. It's part of the idea that we got where Jessica was just talking about, when we're out to dinner, sometimes we'll Google questions, but we put together a list of 25 questions that will help you guys get connected. So if it's been a while since you've gone on a date, or it's been a while since you've asked a intimate conversation starter, go to thedadedge.com/25 questions. You can download a copy of a PDF there that has 25 questions. You can ask your wife, go back and forth. You can ask your husband. And there's actually a quick video training on why these conversation starters are so powerful and why they connect us from a psychological standpoint. So again, go to thedadedge.com/25 questions for that resource. It's a way to have better conversations and to get alignment, which is what we're talking about today. So thank you so much for joining me on today's show. I really enjoy these. So you're going to have to stop by, at least once a month.
Okay. What if we need to have more content?
We can always have more content. Don't worry. We got you. So gentlemen, from my heart to yours, thank you so much for tuning in today. Go out and live legendary. Take care.